Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Good morning, and welcome back to another Good Morning Grief devotion. It's your boy, Pastor Corey Allen Duncan Sr. So excited to have this wonderful opportunity to come to you today to lead you in a very special way in today's Good Morning Grief devotion. Hey, this is the daily grief devotion that is strategically designed to help you to navigate through your grief one day at a time. What is grief? I'm so glad you asked. Grief, my brothers and sisters, it is the natural, normal, and necessary response to loss, change, and transition that results in the expressions of feelings and emotions. Grief is what you feel on the inside. Mourning is how you reveal it on the outside. Therefore, we don't suppress it, but we express it. We don't ignore it, but we explore it. We don't conceal it, but we reveal it. We don't lock it up, but we let it out. And that's why we shout good morning, because mourning is a good thing. It's a great thing. It's a wonderful thing. And I'm so glad to have this wonderful opportunity to lead you in today's Good Morning Grief devotion. Today, my brothers and sisters, is day 305. Come on, I'm going to help you to thrive. We're going to talk about I don't need to fear my triggers. I don't need to fear my triggers. I don't need to fear my triggers. What is this lesson talking about on today? Well, let's talk about it. I don't need to fear my triggers. I know that certain things trigger my grief. Certain places, certain sights, certain people, certain words, certain smells, certain songs, days of the year can plunge me into sharp, sometimes blind sighted pain. Certain things will trigger my grief. Come on, I want y'all to participate a little bit today. What are some of the things that trigger your grief? What are some of the things that may trigger your grief? Drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat. What are some of the things that may trigger your grief? Maybe it's a season, maybe it's a place, maybe it's a sight, maybe it's a sound, maybe it's a song, maybe it's a person, maybe it's a word, maybe it's a smell. What are some of the things that trigger your grief? Drop it in the chat. Y'all gonna participate today. Y'all gonna participate today. What are some of those triggers? What are some of those triggers? What are some of those triggers? Maybe it's a place, maybe it's a sound, maybe it's a sight, maybe it's a song, maybe it is a word, maybe it is a show, maybe it is a month, right? What are some of the things that trigger your grief? When people don't call you no more. When people don't call you no more. Okay, I got you, Felicia Henderson. That's a trigger for your grief. LaShonda Benton says songs. Certain song. Is there in particular song? Is there a song that triggers your grief? Particular song? Good morning. Pictures. Billy said pictures. Yeah. Pictures. When my mother-in-law died, Tamika's mother died, she couldn't see pictures. She couldn't. I tried to put one up on the fire mantle. She says, nah, don't do that. Don't do that. Pictures. Sweet potato pie. Come on, sweet potato pie. Yes, sweet potato pie. Y'all, I'm telling you, it can be anything. Something as simple as a sweet potato pie can send you all the way towards something. Felicia Henderson says music. Yes. Anything by Prince reminds me of my mom. He was her favorite. Come on. Yes, Prince. Prince, when I hear the song Ribbon in the Sky, makes me think about my dad. I see you, Renee. I see you, Renee. Hey, Tamika Brown. When I smell her favorite perfume, Lady in Red, watching movies, especially the color purple, bam, sparks some nostalgia, sends you all the way back. Red nail polish, painting my granny's nails every other week. Come on, y'all. These are triggers, and you can see it on somebody else, and you'll jump, you'll flinch. For some reason, I had this little, I don't know. I don't know. It was a tick. It was something, but something would hit me when my father died, and I had this little twitch for a little while, and I would just like flinch or jump. I don't know if y'all ever experienced that, but I would flinch, hear something, say a thought, a memory. I would see something, and I had this little flinch. Um, and it was involuntary, right? I had this little flinch that happened. that will happen. Hey, Nikki, definitely dates. When certain dates start to approach, right? I get triggered. Sometimes people start to feel a certain way, don't know why. And then they look on the calendar, be like, oh my God, this is the week, or this is the month, or this is the day. And it's like you innately feel something. It's like your body keeps count, your body keeps score. Thoughts of the people I have lost. I see you, mama. Yes, thoughts of the people you love. Going to the GW. Going to the GW. Now, what's the GW? Help me out. What's the GW? GW. I'm like, we're going to the. Help me out. I'm slow, Stacy. You got to help me out. Going to the GW. Yeah, I might get it. I don't. Help me out. Goodwill. Yeah, come on now. Come on. That used to be my spot. Going to the Goodwill. So just passing by and seeing them blue and white lights may do something to you, right? Talking about them. I got you. All of these things, y'all. All of these things are trigger, right? So let's go back. Let's go back and talk about it. Let's go back and talk about it. Here it is. Understanding that I know certain things trigger my grief. Certain places. Come on, Goodwill. Certain sights, certain people, words, smells, perfume, songs, prints, days of the year can plunge me into a sharp, sometimes blindsided pain. That this stuff begins to happen, and all of a sudden I'm plunged into a blindsided pain because it just hits me like, dang, I don't know a Goodwill was over here. Dang, the Prince song comes on the radio. You smell the perfume in the store as you walk past somebody. You see a sweet potato pie in the movie, right? Now all of a sudden, I'm triggered. But what do we do with that? How do I do with that? Because this is the thing. They're not going to shut down all the Goodwills, right? You're going to forever see a sweet potato pie somewhere in the store, the movie. Red nail polishes ain't going nowhere. The memories that you have of the individuals, oh, they in your mind, right? So what do we do? What do we do with these things that continuously trigger us? Check it out. It's tempting to avoid all triggers. It's tempting to avoid all triggers. How many of y'all have done that? I just ain't gonna listen to the radio, right? I know the Goodwill is on the street, so I'm gonna go another way around. I'm not even going to go down the street because I don't want to see it. I know they got sweet potatoes. I know they got sweet potatoes. I know they got sweet potato pies over there in that aisle. So I'm just gonna avoid it. I'm not even going. I'm not going down there, right? It's tempting to avoid all triggers. It can seem better to stay away from anything that I know might cause a grief burst, right? We try to stay away from the things that we know are going to cause a grief burst. If it's going to make me cry, if it's going to make me feel some type of way, I'm just going to stay away from it, right? That's what we do. But if I avoid all of these things, here it is, I'm choosing to live in fear of my normal and necessary life. If you avoid these things, you're choosing to live in fear of your normal and necessary life. So, what do? We don't want to live in fear. I don't want to live in fear, right? I don't ever want to not ever see a sweet potato pie. I don't want to always be triggered when I see red finger polish. I don't want to always have to try to avoid the Goodwill, right? Because when I do this, right, I'm living in fear of my normal and my necessary grief, right? I'm living in fear of my normal and necessary grief. And this is what I say, this is part of the process, right? This is part of the process. We don't ignore, we explore. We don't conceal, we reveal, right? We don't. In certain sports or certain things, like if somebody gets hit by a ball, they tell them get back in there immediately. I'll get back in there because the longer we avoid it, the longer we wait, the longer we hang out, the longer we try to stay away from it, the worse it becomes. You know, the deeper the hole we begin to dig of avoidance from trying to to navigate through the grief and what we're feeling, right? So what do, right? So what if here it is, what if I befriend my triggers instead? Uh-oh. What if I befriend them? When I befriend my triggers, their terrible power over me, it starts to diminish. I begin to see them as reminders of my love instead. What if I befriend my triggers? Right? Yeah, this is part of what I always say. Don't ignore, explore. We don't conceal, we reveal. We don't do no. What if I befriend my triggers instead of avoiding them? Right? I'm gonna go get a sweet potato pie. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna have my moment. I'm gonna turn Prince on, and I'm gonna give myself permission to feel what I need to feel. I'm gonna go get that red finger polish, and maybe I paint mine's red or something. I'm not going to avoid. Right? I might have to do it in doses. I might have to take it in doses, but I don't want. I don't want my life to be held hostage. Right? I don't want to be held hostage. What if I befriend it? What if I do it in remembrance of them? Right? What if I do it in remembrance of them? What if I go to the Goodwill and buy something in remembrance of my mama? Right? I told you, I think, and this is what I think I did just unintentionally when my father died. I said, because the trigger was going to be Father's Day, right? And I said in December, I said, instead of sitting at home and crying my eyes out, because I know it's going to be a trigger, I'm going to throw a conference and I'm going to pour my heart out. I'm going to befriend this weekend that would normally be a trigger. I'm going to befriend it, right? I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to explore it. I'm not going to ignore it. I'm not going to allow it to hold me hostage and conquer me, but I'm gonna get out in front of it, right? And I did. I still cried. I cried, but I befriended it. I faced it, which made it which made it easier moving forward, right? To be able to face it, embrace it instead of trying to avoid it. So what if we befriend our triggers, right? I think Billy said just talking about it, like talking about it becomes a trigger. So what if I befriend that? What if I have a session where I pour out, right? I don't ignore, I explore, right? I don't suppress, I express. That I give myself that opportunity. Because what happens when you befriend your triggers, their terrible power over you starts to diminish. Their terrible power over you, it starts to diminish. I remember my sister, she died. It wasn't Eskenazi, it was Wishart at the time. And so, a lot of times we don't want to go to the place where they died. We don't. That's the last place I seen them at, and this, that, and the other. No, I went. I remember on the anniversary of the date, I went up there and I sat in the very same waiting room that we sat in for a whole week. I just sat there, right? I went back to the scene of the crime, if you want to call it. It wasn't the scene of the crime, but it's up there where she died. I went back and I sat inside that waiting room. I just sat there, probably for about 10, 20 minutes, right? Felt what I needed to feel, overcame it. I didn't want it to have power over me. As a preacher, pastor, I knew I was going to have to be in and out of hospitals. So I'm like, I'm going to have to come back here eventually to visit somebody, right? So I don't want it to have power over me. Going to certain sides of town, right? I didn't want it to have power over me. Let me go over here where my father was. Let me go to this MCL where he always got food from. Let me deal with this. Let me face this, right? Let me face this. Let me interact with this. Let me do this because I don't want it to hold me hostage. I don't want it to have power over me. So befriending our triggers can be powerful. Befriending your triggers can be powerful, right? Um, it could be painful and powerful. Their power starts to diminish. I begin to see them as reminders. Here it is. It's a reminder of my love instead, right? I know it's a trigger, but I also watch this because it reminds you of them, right? It's a reminder it may be a reminder of pain, but it's also a reminder of presence. Let me say it like this. It's a reminder of the loss, right? But it's also a reminder of the love, right? That sweet potato pie. It's a reminder of the loss, You ain't here no more to make them. But it's also a reminder of the love, right? It's a token of love that we had, that we shared, right? The goodwill. Yes, it's a reminder of the loss. I can't go shopping with her no more. But it's also a reminder of the love, the many memories that we had shopping in there. Prince. Yes, it's a reminder of the loss, right? But it's also a reminder of the purple rain. You know what I'm saying? It's a reminder of the love, whatever it is. The thoughts, it's a reminder of the loss, but it's also a reminder of the love. It's the minutes, the moments, the memories that we shared together. So this is the thing. Befriend your triggers. I know you got them. I know the triggers are reminders of the loss, but you also have to remember that those same triggers are reminders of the love. And so, what do? We befriend them. Here it is, so that their terrible power over us it starts to diminish. Here's the final thought, y'all. I want you to go with. When my grief gets triggered, I know to nurture myself. When my grief gets triggered, I know to nurture myself. Today is day 305. I told y'all I'm going to help y'all thrive. I don't need to fear my triggers. Questions, comments, if you got them, holla at your boy one time for the one time. Questions, comments, if you got them. Questions, comments, if you got them. No questions, no comments. That means you don't got them. Look, I appreciate y'all hanging in there. I appreciate y'all joining us every single day. I love y'all with the love of the Lord. Look forward to continuing to going on this journey with each and every one of you. Remember, befriend your triggers, y'all. Don't let them have power over you. Yes, it's a reminder of the loss, but it's also a reminder of the love. It's your boy, Pastor Corey Allen Duncan, Senior. I love y'all with the love of the Lord. I'll see y'all same time, same place tomorrow. Let's go.